Welcome to this outsider's guide to the 2024 Finnish presidential election that is coming up in 11 days. If this video does get out on today's date, the 17th. Um, this is just kind of a like a primer, like a sort of basic guide for those of you who are living outside of Finland, which is most of my viewer base. My Finnish viewer base has grown a bit, of course, because I talk about a lot of Finnish stuff, but this is more for the people who are outside of Finland and might be even semi interested in what's going on with the government here. The presidential election is very soon. You see on the left side of your screen, there are a lot of candidates, but again, well, there are really two or three. I mean, Jussi Halla-aho is also up there as well. Oli is, but really, it's gonna either be Alexander Stubb or Pekka Haavisto. But we'll see. We'll see. We're not there yet. If we learned anything from American politics, it's that predictions can be can be wildly inaccurate. So, just an overview of the Finnish election process. A lot of things here, of course, happen differently than they do in the United States. Well, first and foremost, campaigns for anything for parliament, for president, for municipal elections are not nearly the circus freak show that they are in the United States, and they don't have nearly the amount of money behind them. There's still big money in politics here, but not even close. Not even close to what the US does. You don't see attack ads every 5 seconds on TV. You might see attack advertisements here and there. The basic Finns famously had a pretty racist one in Eastern Finland for the parliamentary elections last year. So yeah, these things do happen, but not on the scale of the U.S. So a little overview of the election process and what goes on. The president is elected to a 6-year term. They can't serve more than 2 6-year terms. Sauli Niinisto is on his second term, at the end of his second term, and that's why he cannot run this time around. Voting takes place on the fourth Sunday of January, so this year that will be the 28th of January. Candidates are nominated by officially registered parties, or they can be nominated by a petition of 20,000 Finnish citizens. I think 2 candidates were elected that or were given candidacy that way this time around. Candidates must be Finnish citizens of good repute. Voters must be Finnish citizens aged 18 and up. Voting is done in 2 rounds if necessary. If one candidate doesn't get 50% or more of the vote, they do a runoff 2 weeks later with the leading 2 candidates. For example, the last time they had to do a runoff was in 2012 between Pekka Haavisto and Sauli Niinisto. Presidential powers and duties. Again, this is not a comprehensive list, and if you see down here, I want to encourage people to do their own reading. And also, if you are from Finland and you're watching this and you see something in here that is wrong or bullshit, please let me know, and I will do my best to rectify it. But I think I'm more or less pretty good with the information here. The president of Finland is the commander-in-chief of the Finnish Defense Forces. They do have executive power, but they must have the confidence of parliament and the ministries, so they can't just make decisions on their own. That they can't just issue an executive order like Donald Trump here and there. Well, here and there is kind of an understatement, but they can't do that. They're the leader of the Finnish government, or no, excuse me. The prime minister is the leader of the Finnish government. I was focused on this. I don't know why that's there. The prime minister is the leader of the Finnish government, and the government is comprised of the members of parliament and the different ministries. I think there are 11 ministries. I think so. And another thing about the prime minister is they make quite a bit more money than the president. I think it's 202,000 euros per year versus 126,000 for the president, but that number was bigger. Sauli deferred some of that money. He took less pay, which is one reason why he is so popular. And as a custom, the president, no matter what party they are when they go into the presidency, they don't make it a point to, you know, to focus too much on that. They as a custom, they renounce their party affiliation, basically. They can veto parliamentary decisions. They do have veto power, although Parliament can overrule the president with a majority vote. If the government or a minister loses confidence with Parliament, the president must dismiss them per the Constitution. And that has happened to the government. I think it has been dissolved 14 times since the early 20th century. And it hasn't happened in a good long while, I think since the 70s. But if they hold a vote of confidence for all of Parliament or just one minister, and they are voted no confidence, the president has to tell them to pack their shit and leave. Not the country, just, their seat. In the event of a government dissolution, the president nominates a new candidate for prime minister after consulting with the speaker and members of parliament. They can call early elections. And this part, I did copy and paste this from Presidente Pistafi because there are a lot of international duties the president of Finland has. In fact, where the prime minister is seen as the main policymaker domestically, the Finnish president is seen as more of the international guru, if you will. They make all of the trips, the diplomatic trips, and for example, they decide on policy initiatives regarding international relations. They decide on instructions to Finnish diplomatic representatives, on the recognition of states, on establishing and severing diplomatic relations, on Finnish diplomatic missions, etc., etc. They do a lot where that's concerned. You can pause and read on your own if you want, or you can go to Presidente Pistafi and read more about what they do. And as I said, they are not as powerful as they once were. Before 2000, the president could nominate the prime minister or individual ministers independently. They have to consult parliament now. Before 2000, the president could dissolve parliament without input from the government. And some other appointment powers were also delegated to the government after the ratification of the 1999 Constitution. So this is just a brief rundown. That there are some similarities to the election process of the U.S. presidential election, but there are a lot of differences, including the number of candidates. Now, let us take a look at these beautiful people over here on the left. I chose, if you look at the right, I chose the top 6 candidates from over here on the left. Look left, look right, look left. Oh, okay. I chose the top 6 that are currently leading in ULE's presidential poll. If the following people were running for president in January 2024, who would you vote for? And generally speaking, I've been hearing these 2 names here, Alexander Stubb, Pekka Haavisto, as the 2 front runners. Jussi Halla-aho has a very high level of popularity with young voters. I've seen him as number 2 among youth voters. I've seen a poll where he was number 1. So it still looks like a toss-up, and especially since the 2016 U.S. presidential election, I know better than to follow preliminary polls and data and stuff like that as an absolute predictive guide. So I'm not going to make any predictions. I will say that I would like to see Li Andersson win. That is my that would be my preferred choice for the presidency if I could indeed vote. So let's go down the candidates. We got Li Andersson, and these are in no particular order, by the way. She is from the Left Alliance, or Vasemmistoliitto. She's born on the 13th of May, 1987 in Turku. She's been a member of parliament since 2015, and she was the Minister of Education from 2019 to 2023 in the Marin cabinet. I will state that this is, once again, not a comprehensive list, which means that this isn't a comprehensive list of all of the positions that these candidates have held. Some of them have held so many more, not just within Finnish government, but within the EU government and academia, what have you. I tried to stick to the positions that they've held in Finnish government, and even then, sometimes there's more. So, as far as her policies go, she is a self described Marxist and socialist who supports a universal basic income, shorter workdays or weeks, decriminalization of cannabis, and the dissolution of the church from the state, that being the Evangelical Lutheran Church, which is a very big deal here. And she's a firm supporter of compulsory Swedish language lessons in schools, probably as a function of her being a Swedish speaking Finn, actually. Turku is in the very, very western part of Finland. So that is Lee Anderson. Pekka Haavisto from the Green Alliance, or Vihreä Liitto. He's running as an independent, though, where you see these asterisks. Those are the people who are running as independents in this presidential election, and there are two of them. So Pekka was born on the 23rd of March, 1958, member of parliament for the Green Party from 1987 to 95, and again from 2007 to today. He's a foreign minister from 2019 to 2023 in the Marin cabinet, and he's held a lot of other different posts. Politically, issues-wise, he considers himself a centrist, but he also believes in a universal basic income, and he's really, really active with environmental interests, hence Green Party, such as banning clear cutting. He used to be really against nuclear power, too. I think he has changed his tack on that over time. And he is a supporter of compulsory Swedish language lessons in schools as well. That is a pretty big issue with people here. Whether or not Swedish remains a language that students have to learn, because Swedish is, of course, one of the official languages of Finland. Alexander Stubb. I make the mistake of saying Stubb a lot. He is from the National Coalition Party, or Kansallinen Kokoomus. Most people just say Kokoomus when referring to NCP in Finnish. He was born on the 1st of April, 1968 in Helsinki. He was a Prime Minister of Finland for a cup of coffee from 2014 to 2015, Minister of Finance for another cup of coffee from 2015 to 2016, Minister of Foreign Affairs from 2008 to 2011, and he's held a bunch of other posts within the Finnish government and the EU government. Issues-wise, he is, generally speaking, fiscally conservative and socially liberal, like a lot of other people within NCP. They tend to be very fiscally conservative, but on the social side of things, they tend to be more tolerant. Jussi Halla-aho. He is from the Basic Finns, or Perussuomalaiset, born 27th of April 1971 in Tampere. He's the current Speaker of the Parliament, and he was the chairperson of the Basic Finns from 2017 to 2021. He's a populist, he's a nationalist, he's anti-immigrant, anti-multiculturalism, he's an individualist, and he is very fiscally conservative. And pretty popular, too. Well, most of these people are very popular within Finnish society, obviously, but as far as Finnish politicians go, he is one of the more notorious ones. And like I said, he's quite popular with youth voters. So we'll see. Olli Rehn, he is from the Center Party, or Keskusta, born the 31st of March 1962 in Mikkeli. He was an MP from 1991 to 95, and again from 2015 to 17. He was a Minister of Economic Affairs from 2015 to 2016, and Olli has held so many positions in so many different places: academia, economics, government, EU. He's worn many hats in his life, many hats. And from what I could gather, he is, as his party name implies, a centrist and fiscally pretty. I would say he's on the conservative side based on some of his policies. And last but not least, we have Jutta Urpilainen. She is from the Social Democrat Party, or Suomen Sosiaalidemokraattinen Puolue. SDP is, I think, the second most popular party in Finland right now. Number one being NCP. Finn's party kind of interchanges with, they go from like third to second to third pretty often. So it could be something different now. She was born the 4th of August, 1975. Member of Parliament from 2003 to 2019, quite a long time. She was a chairperson of SDP from 2008 to 2014 and the finance minister from 2011 to 2014. Now, I couldn't find a whole hell of a lot about her policies, values, things like that. But I did find some articles talking about things that she did as the finance minister that were not very popular within her own party, including favoring cutting corporate tax rates when she was finance minister. And she demanded collateral from countries that were benefiting from EU bailouts, like the Southern European countries. She said that she wanted to see some money from them or see something in return for the EU money that they would be getting as bailouts. And in the end, that collateral did more harm than good because Finland had to pay €1 million in management fees to an investment bank. So she's been, a little bit iffy within her own party. So I would say based on those two things alone, she's probably on the fiscally right leaning side, socially liberal. And those are the top six candidates. And if you want to learn more about the other candidates, including those who have dropped out, I will have them in a link in the description below. So, to sort of close this video out here, I would just like to say that I think the election system in Finland, whether it's municipal, whether it's parliamentary, whether it's presidential, compared to the election system where I grew up, the United States, it is sterling. It is awesome. And things are much easier to follow. Politicians are a lot more personable. You get the feeling that they are much more representative of the people than they are in the US. And they seem to be a lot more involved and they seem to care a lot more. They care more about the issues and they care more about their policies and enacting these policies than they do about their own personal, how popular they are, how they look. There's a lot of vanity in American politics, and there's vanity in Finnish politics too, of course, but it's not nearly as bad. So I think Finland's got a really good thing going here. I would really, you know, uh, before I moved here, I admired the fact that there were several different parties that people could choose from, but it does seem like over time it is kind of concentrated in some of the elections, especially the parliamentary elections, between the NCP and the SDP, which values wise is kind of like the Democratic Party in the US and the Republican Party in the US. So I do hope that that starts to, spread out a little bit more because, yeah, you don't want two parties. You don't want two parties ruling the whole roost. If I've learned anything from living under the, under American politics for so long, you got a good thing going here, Finland, and no matter how you choose, I hope that you are instilled with some sort of feeling of belonging and like you have some sort of a voice, because that is very important indeed, and it's really important to getting people out to the polls and voting. So if you can get out there and vote, or don't, but it would be cool if you did, right? Yeah. Okay. Hope this was helpful. If not, I'm sorry. Have a good day, folks.